This is the site of Fort Dilts. There's not much here today, but in September 1864, an important encounter between a white wagon train and the Lakota natives occurred here. The Lakota were protecting their homeland and punishing trespassers, and the white folks were only trying to press through the Great Plains to the goldfields of Montana. It was one of the inflection points that led to 30 years of plains warfare between the indigenous sovereign and American frontiersmen. And it all ended in 1890 at Wounded Knee. This wasn't just some sort of spasmodic raid by piratic peoples on an innocent group of immigrants. These were the Lakota people recognizing they were going to have to fight and resist to save their homeland. And so they attacked this immigrant train. They killed maybe a dozen, and on the Lakota side, many more were killed. When the initial attack occurred and the immigrant train survived it, they worked their way over 2 days here. And here they decided they had to make a stand. And so they circled their wagons, and this is in fact the source of the sort of Hollywood cliche of circling the wagons. And then they decided to dig a trench and a sod breastwork, a kind of sod fort, and wait for rescue. What makes it extra interesting, one is that Sitting Bull was here. He was still not yet the famous Sitting Bull at this time. He was just still a young warrior, and he was injured, and he was shot by a white person. So he was taken out of the siege almost immediately. So Sitting Bull was here. Secondly, there was a white woman captive with the Lakota that she had been captured on July 12th down near Fort Laramie. They were on another immigrant train going towards Oregon. They didn't know this, of course, until it was revealed that there was a white woman. And Captain Fisk tried to ransom her. Sort of crude letters passed back and forth, but eventually they couldn't get her ransomed. And so when the rescue party they went back to Fort Rice, and she then had to stay with the Lakota for more months, all the way till December 1864, when she was finally ransomed in what's now South Dakota. She went on to write a famous captivity narrative, and it became a sensational captivity narrative in the post-Civil War period in the United States. You just need to kind of gaze around and ask yourself, what would it be like to be here in September of 1864, period? There was nothing here for white people. It was just 600 miles of grass. So that, I think, is sort of the story here. There's certainly a Lakota point of view that would be important to record, how this touched off 30 years of Indian wars in the Dakotas and Montana and Wyoming. Those stories are part of this, and they should be recorded.